Tonight, we focus on the continent in flux, grappling with the heavy price of power and the raw force of nature. From a disputed election that silenced dissent to a natural disaster that makes the earth bleed, the search for stability is the dominant story. This is the African News Update on Top Accolade News. The headlines: Tanzania faces unrest as opposition rejects Suluhu's victory. Guinea's December election faces credibility crisis. DR Congo faces political backlash after banning parties linked to ex-president. Tinubu implements 15% fuel import duty. We begin in East Africa. Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan was sworn in on Monday in a restricted ceremony in Dodoma after a disputed election that barred two opposition contenders and triggered protests, leaving at least 10 dead. With internet disruption, shuttered businesses and troops on the street, the nation faces a tense calm as opposition leaders reject the results as fraudulent. Kenya's President Ruto has urged dialogue to restore peace. In a country once praised for stability, democracy now feels like a whisper, drowned by the sounds of boots on the streets. Flowing from one fragile pool to another, Guinea's December 28th presidential election took shape on Monday after the filing deadline closed with only 4 minor candidates and none from the country's main parties, whose leaders were barred by age or exile. The vote, the first since Mamadi Doumbouya's 2021 coup, follows a constitutional change, extending presidential terms and granting immunity to ex-presidents, move widely seen as clearing Doumbouya's path to power. As the nation heads towards the poll, democracy in Guinea risks becoming a stage play where the script and the winner are already written. From West Africa's stage play to Central Africa's crackdown, the script sounds all too familiar. The Democratic Republic of Congo's Interior Ministry has suspended 12 opposition parties, including former President Joseph Kabila's PPRD and ex-Prime Minister Augustin Matata Ponyo's LGD, accusing them of violating laws and threatening national security. The move follows Kabila's September death sentence over alleged link to rebel groups and comes as his coalition calls for political reform and dialogue. Rights observers warn that the crackdown deepens the erosion of democracy in Congo, where dissent is now treated as a crime against the states. From political control to economic power plays, Nigeria is changing the rules of the field game. Billionaire Femi Otedola has praised President Bola Tinubu's decision to impose a 15% import tariff on petrol and diesel, calling it a bold and crucial step to protect domestic refineries and investors from cheaper foreign competition. The policy, announced on October 21st letter to regulatory agencies, is designed to stabilize the downstream market and support Nigeria's goal of energy self-sufficiency. While critics warn of higher pump prices, Otedola says it will foster investor confidence and price stability. In a nation long addicted to imports, Tinubu's tariff may be the shock therapy that forces Nigeria to finally feel itself. You're watching the African News Update on Top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Thanks for staying with us. The subject of Nigeria's stability is now being debated across oceans. US President Donald Trump has ordered the Pentagon to prepare potential military options against Nigeria, labeling it a country of particular concern for alleged persecution of Christians and vowing to halt aid. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu dismissed the claim as untrue, insisting that religious tolerance defines the nation. The move has split opinion at home, with some Nigerians calling it interference and others urging cooperation. In a country weary of bloodshed, Trump's warning feels less like salvation and more like a storm from afar. Turning to nature's wrath in the region. At least 26 people have died and more remain missing after a devastating landslide struck Marakwet East, western Kenya, following days of torrential rain. Rescue operations aided by the Red Cross were hindered by impassable roads, while dozens of injured victims were airlifted for treatment. Neighboring Uganda also reported fatalities from floods and mudslides as rivers burst their banks. As East Africa drowns under relentless rain, nature once again reminds its people how fragile life is when the earth itself gives way. From sorrow in the soil to splendor in the sand, Egypt celebrates history reborn. After more than 20 years of construction, Egypt opened its long-awaited Grand Egyptian Museum on Saturday in a glittering ceremony near the Giza pyramids, attended by global leaders and marked by a dazzling light show housing 100,000 artifacts. The $1 billion project crowned President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's drive to revive tourism and national pride. As ancient wonders meet modern ambition, Egypt isn't just preserving history, it's reclaiming it on the ground stage. Finally, to the ground stage of African football. Kaizer Chiefs have landed in Group D of the CAF Confederation Cup alongside Egyptian powerhouses Zamalek, Al Masry, and Zambia's Zesco United after the draw in Johannesburg. Fresh up a gritty qualifying campaign that saw them edge Cabus Cup and AS Simba, the Amakosi now face a daunting path against seasoned continental rivals. With Zamalek's pedigree and Zesco's history of eliminating Chiefs in 2018 and 2019, the group promises fireworks, a retest of whether South Africa's giant can turn potential into presence in Africa's grand stage. From power to peril, from politics to play, the continent's story reminds us that progress never moves in a straight line. It bends, it breaks, and sometimes it begins again. I'm Ojo Romeo Kocha, and this is the African News Update on Top Accolade News, keeping you connected to the pulse of the continent.